Hi, Dick Rauscher here. Today we're going to be doing a review of Stony Hill Nugget number 169. This article is on New Year's resolutions, but I take a slightly different approach than I think a lot of people who talk about New Year's resolutions. You'll see what I'm getting at here in a minute. First question, when I sat down to write my New Year's resolutions, which I do every year, sometimes more successful than other years, but I do try to take it pretty seriously. And one of the quotes that I read here recently from Jeff Goins, who's a writer, and he teaches on kind of how to be successful in writing and some career work, okay? But at any rate, what he said is that we can have whatever we want if we're willing to work really significantly focused on our wants. And here's the key, and this is, I think, probably one of the more important parts of what he was teaching, and that is that we can't have everything. Okay? So when we make a New Year's resolutions list, don't put a ton of stuff on it. All right, because you're probably not going to remember most of it the next day. What we want to focus on today in this nugget is what truly is important. And that brings up point number 2. What do you really, you get my point, really want in your life? Not a new car, not to lose weight, not to exercise more. Now that might be a want if your health is deteriorating. Exercise might be an important one. But the basic question that you want to wrestle with on this is, what do you want that you're willing to put in some major life effort to accomplish or achieve? Okay? And again, a New Year's resolution is an opportunity to talk or to think about and plan your future, okay? So, what do you really want, okay? Success? What kind of success? In what field, okay? Are you really willing to put a major life effort into achieving that want? Because if you don't, you might as well just tear your New Year's resolution list and throw it away, because it's basically is just another distraction. It's a waste of time. Unless you've asked yourself some of these questions and really thought about them, okay? Next point. Before you even do the what do you really want, what I always suggest is take a look at writing down, and I suggest writing them down. What are your core values? In other words, if a core value doesn't support this, then maybe it's not a core value. So what you're really wanting to do here is you want to link what you really want and to make sure that your core values support what you really want, and or vice versa. If you got what you really want, are your core values supporting it? Okay? Get the point? You want to tie those two together, because if you don't tie them together, then you won't have the passion and energy to follow through on whatever your New Year's resolution list is comprised with. Now, one of the ways that actually 2 ways here that I like to look at things. One is this a me or a we focus? In other words, are we self-focused or are we focused on common good? In other words, adding value to the world. Or to ask the question differently, do they support your legacy? How do you want people to remember you? When people come to your funeral service, what do you want them to know about you? Who were you? What value did you add to the world? That's what a legacy is all about. And if your core values are supporting what you really want, and what you really want are supporting or working with the core values, then typically you're going to have a we focus. You're going to have a focus on adding value to the world. And that's the next point. This is a very narcissistic point of view. This is primitive ego thinking, what's in it for me? If your core values are focused here, I hate to be the one breaking the news to you, but you probably won't be successful. Now, will you make a lot of money? I don't know. You might. But I can tell you, you won't be leaving a very positive legacy. Okay? Think about that. That's really important. This is not going to work. So if you don't have a we focus in your core values and what you really want to accomplish, in other words, creating a legacy, I would really just encourage you to go back to the drawing board. Get another clean piece of paper and take a look at some of this and see if you can get a we focus on the really want stuff, and then make sure it's supported. Okay, so basic question we're asking here in a we focus, improving the quality. Now, it can improve the quality of your life also. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But just make sure, legacy-wise, that it's also adding value to the lives of others, okay? Because if it passes that test, then you've probably got some good New Year's resolutions and you'll probably be successful. What will get in the way of your goals? Now, you and I know exactly what gets in the way, okay? For example, one of my get in the ways is I'll eat really good all day, but if I sit around and watch television at night, okay, and I don't have my hands busy or doing something, then I end up going through the refrigerator or the cupboards nibbling, okay? And trust me, nibbling does not help the waistline, okay? So for me, one of the things that gets in the way of my health goals is I have to be careful how much television I watch in the evening, okay? That's a pretty dangerous habit for me. So take a look. Most of us know what's in the way of what we really want, okay? And it's not laziness. What it is, it's a lack of focus. In other words, we've got to focus on what are the habits that are going to support what you really want, okay? If you don't have good habits, for example, reading at night instead of watching television, in my case, that would be a habit, okay? If you don't have good habits that support what you really want and support your core values, then most experts will say that you're probably not going to be very successful. You have to have habits. For example, if you're walking and doing exercise, okay, which I like to do a lot, you don't ask the question, oh, do I feel like it today? Because trust me, you will probably never feel like it, okay? What you do is you just show up and do it. It's a habit. For me, I get up in the morning, I get my email, I grab a light breakfast, and I'm off for a 5-mile walk, okay? Now, I never ask myself if I feel like it, because I got to tell you, if it's 18 degrees out and the wind's blowing, I typically don't feel like walking. If it's 100 degrees out and super hot and the sun's beating down, I typically don't feel like it. But I always love it after I'm done. I love the feeling of a really good exercise. Okay? So build habits that are habits. They're not do I feel like it kind of things. They're the things you just do, you show up and you do them every day. Routine, same concept. One of the routines, a lot of people say don't go for email first thing in the morning, okay? I typically do, and the reason I do is because what I'm looking for in my email are articles that are going to help me in terms of writing another nugget. They're educational articles. They're talking about the economy. They're talking about politics. it doesn't make much difference. But what I'm on the search for when I do my email search in the morning is I'm not looking for, who just posted something about a cat, okay? I'm not interested in that. But my routine does help me focus, and I get the articles that I want to read for later in the afternoon, okay? Another point, measure it. If you've got a New Year's resolution, if you don't measure your progress somehow, counting calories, count number of steps, count number of hours that you're putting in, count the number of books you're reading on the subject, whatever it might happen to be, measure it. They say that if you measure whatever your goals are, you're about 90%, 9 times more likely to accomplish that goal. That's a pretty amazing figure. Last comment, and this comes out of people who are doing sports training, for example. What they teach is what you want to do is not do a massive exercise and just blow out every muscle in your body, okay? It won't work because you're going to do more harm than good. Same thing as if you work too hard on your wants. You have to pace yourself and have a balance in life. And one of the ways that they suggest is every time you sit down with your routines and your habits, push yourself about 4% beyond your comfort zone, whatever that is, okay? Go a little bit, 4% beyond your comfort zone. Powerful, powerful technique, because whether you're building mental muscles or physical muscles, 4% every single day begins to compound, and you'll be much more likely to hit this New Year's resolution goal. A lot of people talk about the future. I'm going to write a whole bunch of New Year's resolutions so I can create the future that I want to live. Well, what I suggest is back that off. There is no such thing as the future. Trust me, it's just a possible future. Get it? So when we think about the future, okay, what we're really saying is, what's the possible future that we might be able to create for ourselves using New Year's resolutions and building habits and routines, measure it, push 4% beyond your comfort zone. And if you do that, every single choice you make in life, okay, in other words, you're always supporting this stuff, then what you're doing is you're making a choice, one choice at a time, over and over and over, to create a possible future. And what is the possible future? That one right there. That's the possible future that you want. But if you don't do the work, and the work, okay, is defining core values, making sure your habits and routines, etc., are in place, and all the choices you're making, because you're 100% responsible for your life, okay? You're going to have the life that you create, or you're going to live a life somebody else creates for you. It's your choice. But if you're willing to make that choice and create that possible future by doing the work that comes with a New Year's resolution, you'll be really successful. Okay? It's that simple. Takes a little bit of discipline, obviously, but it's a simple formula. So my encouragement, go for it. Make your New Year's resolutions really kick butt this year, okay? And it'll be fun to see what you end up creating. Because what will it be? A possible future that you're dreaming about. Okay? Have fun. Have a great new year. We'll see you down the road.